Hi, I'm FA from bakingwithfa.com, and today we're going to be making a very interesting cake. You voted for the Guinness Stout Cake, and that's exactly what we're going to do today. So it's quite an interesting cake to make, and I'm sure a lot of us are worried about the alcohol content and the bitter taste of the stout coming through. Don't worry, all that will dissipate during baking time, but the taste, it just lends the taste to a dense and more moist cake. As I said, it's interesting and I can't wait to get started. So we'll get started with the first step. Now I'm using margarine today. This is 250 grams of margarine, which we will melt down on our gas with a cup of stout. Now a cup translates to 240 ml, so I'm just gonna make sure you bend. You know this is the beer parlor style. You bend the bottle and pour. Right. So I'm just going to slowly melt this on medium-high heat, and we don't want it to boil over. We just want it to get nicely melted. Okay, so I've added in our margarine and our Guinness, and you can see it's nice, combined and melted. So I'm just going to turn it off from the heat, and I'll set this aside and we'll go to our next step. Okay, so don't forget to preheat your oven at 180 degrees C or gas max 4. Okay, so our mixture is quite melted. I'm just going to transfer this into our bowl here. Okay, so I've got 400 grams of caster sugar, which I'm just going to add in here. Just whisk as you add in so it nicely dissolves. Okay, so I've got 75 grams of unsweetened cocoa powder, which again is going into the mix. Okay, so the next step is our buttermilk. I'm sure you remember how we made our buttermilk. If you don't, please refer to our old video. So I have 1 cup of buttermilk going in, which will also help for cooling down. A couple of minutes and come to our dry ingredients. Now I've got a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, which I'm just going to add. The amount of flour you can take is 275 grams. Now I've got 2 teaspoons of baking soda, which I'm also going to add in, and I'm just going to give all this. So we're using 2 eggs today. I'm just going to put them in one at a time. Okay, so my eggs are in. Now the mixture seems quite runny, but don't be worried. Okay, so now it's time for vanilla, and I'm going to use 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla. Okay, so you can see this batter is quite quick. You know, we have no need for mixers today. Now comes in the flour. Again, you need to put it in batches so you don't get the clumps and lumps. So just put in a little bit, and I'm going to manually mix that and then put in a little bit more and do the same. Okay, now it will get quite difficult once all the flour is added in, but don't worry, you'll be fine. Okay, so this is a very quick to make sure you've prepared your pan. Put in a bit of butter and flouring it down. So I'm just going to put this in our baking tin. Look at that. That is like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Okay. Okay, so that's done and dusted. We're going to bake this at 180 degrees for about 35 to 40 minutes. Once a knife inserted in comes out clean, then you know your cake is ready to eat. So in this goes. Now this interesting cake has an even more interesting icing. We're going to be making a Bailey's cream. I know all the ladies in the house are saying yay. We're going to be making a Bailey's cream icing. It's more or less your regular icing. It's just basically the addition of the Baileys, just to give it a hint of that 500 grams of powder. And to that I'm going to add 250 grams of margarine in here. And we're going to mix that on low speed so we don't have icing volcano. So this is looking nice and creamy. Now it's time for our Baileys. So basically what you want to do, and don't be scared about this tasting quite boozy. The alcohol in there would more or less balance out like the alcohol that is found in vanilla extracts as well. So I'm just going to put in 2 tablespoons and if we need to add some more, we'll add some more. Okay, and we'll give this a quick mix. Okay, so my husband said it's not tasting boozy enough, so we're just going to add a couple more spoons. Now just remember that this cake is quite interesting and it will make a very nice addition to that adult celebration. That smells absolutely amazing. The cake is ready. You can see it's nicely risen, and we put a knife through it and it came out nice and clean. So we're just going to wait for this to cool down and we'll put the icing on it and have that tasting moment. Right, so I'm just peeling the back of parchment paper, getting this baby ready to be iced. Okay, so we just need to put it on here. Now this step is not really necessary, but to get it nice and even, I'm just going to shave a bit of the top. Right, now with this cake, what we want to do is to mimic the actual stout. So we're not going to have the buttercream all over the cake, we're just going to have it on the top, like that foamy goodness in your regular stout. This cake is absolutely amazing. You seriously need to try this. Now this happens to be one of Nigela's favorite cakes, and she actually described it in her own words as being magnificent and perfect in its moist blackness. This is the cake of the moment. You need to try it, because now the fact that we had a bit of sugar, you don't even taste the sugar at all. What you taste is, you know, it's just got a very subtle Bailey beer taste, and the sugar is totally dissipated during baking, so you just get a perfect balance of flavors and tastes. With stouts being readily available, you can't miss trying this out. So let's hear from you. Once again, I have to sign off with my gorgeous dessert. Make this cake. It's quite easy to make, and obviously try to mimic the fact that, you know, the beer bits on the top. It's a fun cake to make. Send your pictures, let me know how you get them. And don't forget, get baking.